just went live and I was trying to prune my tomatoes on the live, and I totally broke a tomato plant, so I had to collect myself and move on to the next project in the grow tent for today. So this is my grow tent. This spent all of my time. Today I'm starting some new flower seeds. Every year I have a cut flower garden, and I start my seeds in a cell tray with soil indoors. And I had a thought that why not start it in my system. I've talked about this several times, but starting my seeds in my aeroponics system is a great way to expedite the process, especially because I live in Ontario. Ontario, the summer season is so short. I'm trying to stretch it as much as I can. So what I've been doing is germinating seeds using the paper towel method. I've germinated celosia and zinnias. My dahlias I have, so I won't be starting those. I'll just plant them direct into soil. So I started the seeds using the paper towel method. A lot of them sprouted. A lot of them I transferred too early to make it. And if you know me and you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I like to overdo it. So rather than starting 5 seeds of one variety, I'm the type of gal who will start 50 seeds of one variety. So that is the plan, is to start more seeds. I started them in paper towel, wasn't 100% happy with the results. So now I want more. It's an addiction, I can't get enough. So I'm just gonna pick out all my little square sponges. These seem to be the best. These are just polyurethane square sponges. So for flowers and stuff like that, that's not food, I typically would use rock wool. I've never used rock wool. I get a lot of questions as to why. Because I am growing food, I want it to be as clean and organic and natural as possible. And the challenges with rock wool is that it's made from the same stuff that they use for insulation for building homes. And it's like, why would I want those chemicals on my food? So I just decided to opt for something else. So even though this is still plastic, it is less toxic than rock wool. So it is not 100%. It is just the lesser of two evils. I did recently get some easy plugs. They're just cocoa core. I'm excited to try those, but I do hear that they leave debris in your system. So I don't know how effective it'll be, but we will see. Maybe they will be more effective than polyurethane. I get a lot of haters that are mad that I say rock wool is toxic, but I use plastic instead. Where's the logic in that? I don't know. It's just the lesser of two evils. So I've noticed, depending on what seeds I'm germinating, sometimes the round sponges work best. I'll show you guys what I did. I actually had to rig up these sponges. So I went live yesterday and we talked about it, the size of the foam collars that I'm using. The foam collars are, they're about an inch thick. So if the root of your plant isn't long enough, it's not going to stick out the bottom and it's not going to be effective. So the sponges are kind of the same deal. They're so thick that I have a hard time, like they dry up quickly, and I forget why, but there was a reason. I started cutting them in half. I think it was, why was it? I don't remember. I think it was because the seedling can't get enough oxygen. They're just so thick. So I cut them in half so that they're half the thickness, and I started trying that out for germinating, and it actually worked better. So that's how I've been germinating my seeds. So right now I'm just kind of sorting through. I like to experiment. I like to start some seeds in the round sponge, some seeds in the square sponges, because the square has the little cavity there for the seed to go into. Sometimes it does work more effectively. So what I start off by doing is I use distilled water. I actually have a distiller that I got from Vivor, which has been great. it actually is able to produce enough water for me to keep all my systems operational, which has been awesome. I have heard a lot of people ask me, why don't you get an RO system? I have heard that distiller is far superior than an RO system because you have a ppm of 4 or under. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you use RO or do you use just water? I love my distiller. It works pretty well. The output is 4 liters every 3 hours. So it fills up one of these jugs every 3 hours. So I usually power twice a week with 4 of these jugs. So that's 8 jugs. I have 3 towers, and then my buckets. Right now at the growth stage that everything's at in the buckets, I only fill water maybe once a week, and it takes about five of these jugs, so almost 20 liters. Anyways, so I just fill up the lid of a tray. I let them soak. I really want the sponges to be oversaturated. The last thing I want is for the sponges to dry out with the seeds in it while they're mid-germinating. That is what happens to me a lot, or sometimes the seed will just have sprouted and then it's not enough water to sustain it, and then I lose the seedling. So after waiting 3 weeks for something, it just dies. So, hi, cold Dever. I don't know how to say it, but hi. All right, so I am just soaking these sponges. All right, I think I should get another glove because my glove just broke. But yeah, I'm gonna oversaturate the sponges, make sure they are nice and moist, and then we're gonna pick out our seeds and get our seeds. I've got, I think, 5 different flower varieties. So I am gonna start them in the aeroponics system, and then last week of May, I'll get them outside. I have just a flower bed that I dug in the ground. It's got like no barriers or anything, so I was thinking of making myself a raised garden bed. So we'll see. But I'm actually loving my indoor garden, and if I can grow these flowers in here aeroponically, they would look so flawless. It's really exciting to think about. So I'm just, I'm not going to squeeze out any of the excess water. I'll give you guys a closer look and show the sponges. So this is them. Again, I cut these ones in half. They were the thickness, but I cut them in half, A, to be able to use more of them, and B, once the roots come out, they're not going to be all intertwined in a thick sponge. And then these are the square ones that I use. Normally they're not ripped like this. I've had to rip them in the past just to take the seedlings out, but I'm oh my gosh, sorry, it says Cool Dude VR and I said I couldn't pronounce it. Wow. Hi. All right, so yeah, these are these square sponges. I reuse them. I reuse both kinds. I just wash them, soap and water, or you can boil them. So here we go. I just line them up on my sprouting tray. When they're nice and saturated, just regular polyurethane sponges. I'm gonna free my second hand here so I could do it quicker. So yeah, I'm just lining up the sponges, getting ready to germinate my flower seeds. I'll just put as much as I can fit in one tray. I want an abundance in my garden this year, so I'm gonna start a bunch of them, and I may even end up keeping some of them in the indoor garden, because how cool would it be to do A and B testing and compare how the flowers do outside versus inside and the rate at which they grow. I really want to be able to show everybody how awesome aeroponics is and how fast things grow. So I really think that if I do some A and B testing where I germinate the exact same seed at the same time, and one goes outside, one goes in my aeroponic system, we'll really be able to get a good idea of how effective this method of growing is. You guys don't even understand, man. I grew flowers last year in the soil, and this year, now that I've grown them in the aeroponic system instead, I kid you not, they're growing 3 times faster. Like, I can't even believe it. It's like miracle. I always say miracles every day, man. Miracles every day in the garden. All right, so I am going to, so now this is my tray. I've got all my oversaturated sponges. For those of you that just joined, I get a lot of questions. I use rock wool because I grow my own food. As you can see, I've got my lead tower back there. I got all tomatoes and peppers growing here, some cucumber. I want to make sure that I don't have any particles or debris or anything toxic in my grow medium. And rock wool is actually made of the stuff that we use for insulation to build houses. So, you know, if you're growing cannabis or you're growing flowers or things that you're not going to consume, cool. It's a great grow medium. I know it retains moisture really well, and it makes controlling the environment a lot easier for seedlings, but I got to stick to this, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, but I stick to this instead. It's just a safe bet. And then this is only for seedlings. Typically, I raw dog it, so to speak. I just put the seedling right in the foam collar or in the leca pebbles. Well, I use hydroclay. And I just let the root free hang. No debris if you don't use the clay pebbles. And if you let the root free hang, there's proper air circulation and oxygen that helps the roots with nutrient uptake and you know, prevents against diseases and all that kind of stuff. So that is why I don't use rock wool, because it is toxic. But for these flower plants, I could, but I'm not gonna. All right, so I've got enough sponges. I'm gonna grab my seeds. Last year, I got some seeds, and for those of you watching, I don't know if you've checked out, it's called Florette Flower. She is a flower cultivator. She's amazing. She breeds all kinds of zinnias and dahlias. I actually have her little thing right here. I procured a bunch of her seeds last year, and I've got a few of them left, so I'm going to try germinating a couple of them. I'm trying to hang on to them because they're just such beautiful varieties. She does really beautiful stuff. These are the celosias that I'm growing in my tower right now. So they kind of look like amaranthus. They're like a feathery flower or whatever. So like I said, and for those of you that just joined, I grow them in the soil, but this year's time, instead of starting them in a soil cell tray, I'm actually going to start them in my aeroponic system. All right, so I've got Oklahoma salmon zinnias. That is one variety. I'm going to germinate. I get my seeds from everywhere this year. I got a bunch from all kinds of places. One of them was called Olive Seed Co. These I only have, I thought I finished them, and I found a couple of seeds just lingering around. These are called precious metals. They are the most beautiful flower. They have like a metallic sheen to them. They're zinnias, and they're just absolutely stunning. So I plan on growing these, you know, maybe even in my outdoor garden. I haven't, or maybe in my aeroponic garden. I haven't decided yet. The intention was to have an outdoor flower garden like I do every summer, which I still will. But the question I'm asking myself now is, am I going to be keeping some of these seeds for my indoor garden? Because how cool would it be to have aeroponic flowers all year long? I get to look at my aeroponic flower garden all year long, which would be just so beautiful. I was also gifted free poppy seeds. Maybe I should just eat them. Jokes. I don't know how poppy seeds grow. Do they do well outside? I mean, outside in, are they more of like a spring flower or are they a summer flower? If any of you guys grow, let me know. Because if they are good in the heat and in the summer in full sun, I will grow them as well. The way I position my garden bed is like full sun, so and it is full sun, so I don't know if they'll do well. So these are my flamingo feather seeds. They are celosia, which is kind of like a feathery looking flower, so we're going to germinate more of those. I've got climb with blush zinnia. That's going to be cool. So that's my first year growing the brighter colors. I've got 4 seeds left of this one, but we're just going to go for it. We're going to try it in the aeroponics system. And I've got a bunch of these. These are my favorite ones. They're like hot pink and purple and all different kinds of bright, fun, and joyful colors. So I think I've also got another bag of celosia seeds somewhere. Unfortunately, where I keep my seeds is extremely messy. I need like a binder or something to properly organize my stuff. I know you can get binders that have like plastic slots that are this size that are perfect for putting your seed packages. Oh, I'm going to germinate some of this too. Sugar spun celosia. Some of these, like this one, there's no seeds left in here. It's just the packaging is so full that I'm going to keep it. And then we're going to germinate some of these as well. These are great producers, by the way. They produce a ton of seeds at the end of the season. You'll never need to buy more if you purchase them once. I also got gifted from ordering all my flower plants organic free. So I don't know, I'm gonna try growing celery in the buckets. I think that if I grow it in one of these 1 vessel buckets here, it's 4 inches, so it should be okay for a celery plant. What do you guys think? I think celery aeroponically grown could be really cool. I don't know if it'll work. I don't see why not. I've seen different companies do like large tower gardens and stuff full of celery. So there's no reason why I wouldn't be able to. So yeah, anyways, I pulled the seeds out that I want to germinate. I've got some tweezers on hand just to help because sometimes the seeds are quite small if we're talking about the celosia variety. I know everyone's really starting their seeds during this time, but if I am successful with my aeroponic flowers, then you know I could be starting flower seeds in October to have them be blooming in December, which would be so. I'll actually show you guys. This is the first time this has happened. I want to show you guys what I just noticed this morning. So these are the flowers that I have started in the aeroponics system. I apologize if you've seen this, but I'll show it again for those of you that have just joined. So these 2 are zinnia flowers. I planted them the same day, same variety, and they are growing at different rates, which is quite interesting. Cool thing about aeroponics, as I've mentioned before, is you can see the roots. Check out that beautiful root system. Look at that. So I just wanted to show you guys how cool this is. This is the first time this has ever happened. And if you look closely, there is a bud in there. The first aeroponic zinnia bud that has just emerged this morning. So that is very, very cool. I am very excited and proud about that. And then these are the same variety, or sorry, not the same variety, the same, they're the same kind, different variety of zinnias. So these I just transferred 2 days ago. As you can see, they've already got baby roots. And this one is the one transferred yesterday. We transferred 2 yesterday. We lost 1. But I still have hope for some reason. Oh, never mind. I think hope is lost. It looks burnt. All right. Well, we'll have to take the loss there. This one we just transferred yesterday. We've already got a little baby root. So there we go. That's awesome. It's doing well. But again, this is the thing that I'm the most proud of, is the first bud. So in about, I think it's going to take 2 weeks. Well, outdoors it takes 2 weeks for it to bloom once you actually see the bud. But we'll see what happens. With aeroponics, everything is so sped up that there is a chance that it could bloom in about a week's time. So for those of you that just joined, I was just saying that I'm going to do some A and B testing. So I've got the one that's blooming out here. I've clocked it. So on this date, May the 4th, may the 4th be with you, haha. On May 4th is the day that the bud emerged. So from the day that the bud emerged to when it actually starts to bloom, I'm going to keep note of that time, because then when I do my outdoor garden, you know, it won't be exactly the same environment because it's always, you know, a consistent 25 degrees in here. But I'm going to note of that outside and see how long from when the bud emerges will it take the flower to bloom. I know aeroponics delivers a more direct approach when it comes to nutrient uptake. So I do believe that the aeroponic one will bloom faster when the bud emerges. I don't even know what variety that is, to be honest, so it's going to be a surprise when it blooms. I cannot wait to see. And that's kind of the part about the flowers, is even last year when I did my flower garden, I didn't even bother labeling, because you know, it's so exciting just to have such a surprise when it blooms. You don't know what you're going to get. You've been waiting months, and you obviously, you know what you planted, but you don't know what's where. And there's something to be said about that surprise and that feeling of, you know, every day you watch for it and you wait for it, and then finally it's there, and have that excitement too, because you've never, you don't know what's going to bloom. So I digress. Anyways, time to start my seeds. So I've soaked these sponges. They are very saturated. If ever they do start to look dry, this is what I actually start watering them with right from the get-go. So I fill it with distilled water. I drop maybe a mil and a half of this, the Florinova Grow 7410. This is what I use when they are in the early stages. So I even water the actual and seedling with this. I add in the tiniest drop of hydrogen peroxide. I've heard that seedlings thrive with the hydrogen peroxide because it allows for more oxygen, fruits, which they love, especially at an earlier stage. And then having a little bit of that nutrients the oxygen allows for better nutrient uptake. And then at least when they're being nourished, they've got more than just, you know, distilled water. I've experimented before where I start seedlings and I just water them with just water, and they grow at a much slower rate than anything else. Hey, Pyro, come on, people, smash the like button, everybody, come on. I don't just grow flowers, I grow fun stuff too, but I don't grow cannabis. I know that's what everyone wants to probably see. Okay, so, and for those of you that just got here, I germinated a bunch of flowers using the paper towel method. The germination rate is, I don't know if it's slow or if it just sucks, or if I just didn't germinate, but I want more flowers. I like to do extra of everything. If you guys know me, even when I started my first grow, I germinated like 100 pepper plants and they all sprouted, and I kept them with the exception of a few that died. So I like to overdo it. So I'm going to germinate a bunch of these. These are zinnias. The seeds are pretty cool. I've actually seeds from my flowers from last year, but one interesting thing I learned was that if you have a plant that had powdery mildew, you don't want to harvest those seeds and reuse them, because the powdery mildew is actually in the DNA of the plant now. So I haven't done any research to back that up, so this is all allegedly. I don't know if it's true, but if you guys know anything about it, drop in. I have no idea, but it would be interesting to find out. So yes, I did save seeds from my plants last year, of the varieties that I really enjoyed, but I'm nervous to start them in the system because I just don't want any problems, you know. I've had my issues with powdery mildew before, so now I try to take all the proper precautions to prevent that from happening. So I try to get the seed, you know, I'm trying to simulate when a seed is in soil, it's not completely at the surface. So actually bring you guys for a closer look here. Hang on one second. Show you guys what I've got going on. All right, so I've got these seeds here, and I'm just they actually, when you're done with your flowers at the end of the season, you keep a few of them for seed purposes, and you could just pick the petal off, and at the end of the petal you'll find the seed, which is very cool. So I am just placing it in the sponge, in the little hole, to try to simulate when it's in soil, you know, it's kind of like in the darkness. I'm gonna do 1 or 2 per sponge. I don't know if you can see. I'll just put you guys to the side here. All right, so just grabbing them, putting them in the sponge. It's actually quite the relaxing activity if you find, you know, a nice place to sit, set up your workstation, have a coffee, and just start some seeds. So sometimes I put these on a heating pad, not necessarily these specific seeds, but just when I start seeds. But I have a feeling that these may do better off the heating pad. When I was reading the label, just dropped a seed. When I was reading the label, it had mentioned something about they prefer cooler temps. So I am just going to put them in a separate germination station under a different light rather than the ones that are growing under the grow light and on the heating pad. Maybe these will do better. The challenge I have with the heating pad is it dries everything out quite quickly. So if I'm not constantly watching the plants and watering them every few hours, then it dries up. So I have to find a better way to manage it. Otherwise it becomes a problem. So I've got one variety here. I'm just making sure that they're for the most part inside that little that little crack there. There's like a little cavity for them to be tucked into. So hopefully they'll germinate within a couple of days. These specific ones, 3 to 5 days for germination. And germination temperature 60 to 80 degrees. So yeah, I have a laser thermometer, so I'll check the temperature of both areas to see which area is better to germinate these under. I have tried it under the heating pad, but I don't know if that's the best course of action. So that's one variety. I'm gonna put these here. All right, I have so little seeds, I'm nervous to kill them, so I don't want to germinate all of them. I'm scared. Worst comes to worst, I already have a bunch growing, so I can just propagate those. I just learned yesterday that my tower is perfect for cloning and breeding. So this variety here is Queenie Lime with Blush. If you've ever seen those are really cool. They're like red and green without looking Christmassy. I'm going to stick in the round ones. We'll see which sponge does better, round or square. Hope you guys are having a good weekend and a good Sunday. It's been a beautiful weekend here. It hasn't been super sunny, but it's just been mild and super pleasant outside. So I wonder to myself, should I dig a second flower bed? Oh, I've got a few of these ones. I'm gonna germinate those. These are such beautiful seeds. Oh my gosh, it's the best feeling when you thought you only had a few left and then you've got a whole bunch of seeds. It honestly feels like I won the lottery. So I'm gonna do 5, 6. I'm just gonna do a bunch of them because they're all different colors and different varieties. So all I can do is pray that I don't kill them, that I stay on top of watering and providing the perfect environment for these to germinate. So this particular brand, Floret Flower, that I bought these seeds from, she's got so many beautiful varieties. She is from Washington and she has her own farm, and this one was my favorite. They're like huge blooms that are like 3 to 4 inches large. But yeah, these flowers, she's been working for several years to create and breed different varieties to create her own. And so last year, for the first time, she sold them. They went on the... So I procured a couple packs of each. And then this year, I went to buy some more. I think I just dropped a seed somewhere. Oh, well. I think I went to go buy some more, and she's not selling them anymore. So bummed out because she only sold them the 1 year. So it was like a limited time, but that's okay. All right, so I'm just putting the rest of the seeds in the sponge. I have 2 to a sponge. Some of them have 1 to a sponge. Is anybody starting seeds for the summer? Anybody who's watching garden? If so, what do you grow? Okay, so last variety is the Oklahoma Salmon Zinnia. These apparently are so big. They take 5 to 7 days to germinate. All right. I have a lot of these, but I'm only gonna germinate a few for now. Save the rest for next year. All right, so hopefully, fingers crossed, this will work out. I'll show you guys a closer look. All right, so this is Oklahoma Salmon. These ones are Precious Mills. These ones are the Giant Joy Mix, which are like hot pinks and purples. And then these ones are, I already forget. Oh my, they're the Queenie Lime with Blush. So now that is it for the zinnias. Now I'm going to soak some more sponges and do the next round. So I grab a lid when I'm done. I just keep them covered. I give them periods throughout the day of oxygen because they do need oxygen, but for the most part, I keep them covered to give it that humid dome effect. So I'll take you guys with me. This is where I germinate my seeds, for the most part, I have this little tray set up here, or this little shelf, and then I have, I'll show you guys. I have everything on a globe suite so that I can just set it with a timer, which is great. So it's got a lighting schedule of 12 hours on, 12 hours off for everything that's germinating here. I'm just gonna get this light plugged in. Gotta set up another globe suite, but for now, I'm gonna put that in, power it on. There we go. I got this germinating. I've got some other stuff in here that I did yesterday. I actually, after my YouTube live yesterday, I went on Instagram live and I started those seeds. So now I'm gonna do the rest of them. Soak a little bit more of my sponges. And that's it. That is what I spend my weekends doing, you guys. What do they do with the rest of my sponges? Alright, so I'm only going to germinate a few of these other ones. I don't need that many of them. They're nice, but more of like a filler flower, and they're so abundant. They're, you know, they're those cut and come again flowers where the more you cut, the more they come back. So I'm just, I have a lid full of water here. I'm just soaking my sponges to make sure they are overly saturated. And then we're gonna get them in the tray, get our seeds in there. Off they go. They germinate. So hopefully they'll germinate quickly because I'm super impatient and I want to get them in the system. And I will, I'll do a live when they do sprout and transfer them. I'll take you guys along with me for the ride. All right, so these sponges are saturated. I might add a little more water. I want them to be very moist so they don't dry up quickly. The worst is when you're germinating a seed and it's, you know, pretty much partway through the process, it's just cracked or opened or sprouted, and then it dries out because you screwed up and you didn't water it and your medium doesn't use or doesn't hold enough moisture. So I got my distilled water to soak my sponges in. They're oversaturated. I'm gonna get my tray. A sprouting tray right here. Got my seeds right here. So I am going to be germinating just 3 varieties. Put these away here. Last year was my first summer growing cut flowers, and so this is my first time growing them aeroponically, so that'll be cool. I know it's not, like, I know it's just a regular, but to me I feel like I'm doing something groundbreaking. It feels very exciting that I can grow indoor flowers alongside my own food. Oh my god, the way I was just on a live prior to this on YouTube, and I broke a tomato plant that was fully matured, but I put it in the tower and hopefully it'll get some roots so that I plant it back in the buckets. I'll show you guys really quick before I move on to germinating some more seeds. So it was quite a big screw up. Excuse me. Yeah, I was trying to show off on YouTube live an hour ago and I broke it. Yeah, holy moly. And you want to see the worst part is, look how beautiful. Look at those white roots, you guys. I'm so proud of that. Because I decapitated it. Oops. Anyways, the roots were looking so great. I really effed that up, and so I had to actually go off live because I was so upset. I had to calm down for a minute. So I took all the cuttings. So this is actually the cutting from yesterday I showed you guys, and it was so droopy when I put it in, and then this morning I got into the tent and it was upright and doing so well. Yes, it will grow back. Thank you, Anthony, for the positive thoughts. Right here, this one was droopy. This is the one that got decapitated, but it will bounce back. It is going to. Yes, so I cut it below the node to make sure. I heard that if you cut it below the node, it will grow back. So this one actually already has roots. I'm not even gonna bother trying to show you guys because you can't see, but it is starting to root already, which is just wild. It's got a bunch of tiny little hairs at the bottom, but it is gonna grow back. It was flowering, which is such a bummer. I just saw flowers somewhere, but it's whatever. And then this one was like, look at those flowers. It was about to start really just taking off. I know I shouldn't take any more chances, but this is gonna bounce back. Once this roots and bounces back, I'm going to plant it back in the hydroclay and get this bucket cleaned up. And hey, now I have all these buckets that I can fill with the new propagated. So, you know, I gotta look at the positive side, and yes, I broke the plant, but I get 3 new ones soon. And I discovered that my tower is good for cloning. So always gotta spin it to a positive, you know, because man, for a minute there I was so bummed out, and I just spent my whole life just like whining about how upset I was. So I decided to sign off, take a beat, and now I feel better. So whenever something bad happens, I actually always start seeds. It's just become a habit. When I'm stressed out or I have a rough day, I start some new seeds, and there's something about that practice that is like you're doing something, you're looking to the future, you're doing something now that's benefit in the future, and it feels so productive and it makes you feel good. I legit break a plant every time with every grow, and it's just what happens. Yeah, I do that like times 10 with the size of this tent, which sucks. I do it way too much. I'm so clumsy. I posted my last live, like the replay of my last live, but I dropped my and then I broke my tomato plant. So if you guys want to get to know me and understand how uncoordinated I am, go watch the last live I did about an hour ago. Almost mature weed plant weeks. Oh no, that sucks. I know, you have no choice but to laugh about it. There's nothing else you can do. And the great thing about plants is they always grow back. And if you can propagate it, or, you know, whatever, clone it or propagate it, whatever you want to call it, it's even better. So yes, I broke a tomato plant, but I'm on my way to having a few more than I originally started with. So yes, gardening is epic. I always, man, this morning you guys should have seen me. I was so excited when I saw that my plant was actually blooming for the first time. Nice grow room, you just appeared on my feed. Oh, cool. Happy gardening to you too, Ian. Thank you so much. I'm actually starting seeds for an outdoor garden, but starting them in my aeroponics system to kind of, to speed up process. So normally I start them in cell trays with soil, but I said, screw it. Let's put it in the tower and see how it does. So I've already germinated a few of this variety, and it sprouted, and it is in the tower, and it is doing well and thriving. So I'm very good about that. So I'm just gonna do a bunch of these to a sponge. They grow so abundantly, and they'll be okay to share a root space. Last year when I grew these outside, the feathery looking flowers, they grew so crazy. They were like tree trunks. The stalks were like tree trunks. It was insane. Aeroponics are my favorite. Working back to it. Oh my gosh, I love aeroponics. Ever since I've discovered it, it is just very, like, I'm so obsessed. I know I showed you guys this yesterday, but for those that just got here, I gotta show you this. Okay, look at this lettuce. Look how big and lush and amazing it looks. This is regular leaf lettuce, you guys. And then this is my romaine. I gotta start harvesting this and eating some of it, but it is, again, like cut and coming, and you just cut the leaves and they just keep coming back. So I am definitely gonna be eating some of this, but I have such an abundance. It is very, very exciting. So yes, Ian, you should get back to it because aeroponics is the shit. Yes, I am going to eat it. I'm gonna eat all of it. I'm gonna go on a live when I make my salad, and then you guys can check it out and see. I'll do a taste test, okay? I have salad that I bought from Costco. So I'm gonna do a taste test. I'm gonna try the romaine from Costco versus the romaine from Tower. I should do a blindfolded taste test, and then I'll tell you guys which one I think is mine versus the one from Costco. Happy lunch. Thank you. My business is based on the goal of growing aeroponic hubs. Thank you. Awesome. Awesome. Good for you. Aeroponics is amazing, and I think everybody should learn. Did you guys just see that? I just dropped a bunch of seeds. Whoops. Honestly, I have so many of these seeds. I don't really care. Whatever. All right. Got a couple more to germinate. And that's it. These are all roughly the same colors, so I don't really care. I'll just throw a bunch in a sponge, and that's it, man. See what grows. And then with these, they'll be easier to remove maybe, rather than removing the seedling from the paper towel like I did yesterday and my earlier live. Okay, I just spilled a bunch of water. See, I told you I'm clumsy. All right. I thought this lid was empty, so I was gonna put it on the seedling tray, and I forgot that there's water in it. So, all right. The lid on here, and just hang on 1 second. I'm gonna bring this, I'm gonna take you guys with me. Put this on the seedling tray. All right. Just had to wipe up that water. Sorry, guys. Okay. Good thing I didn't get my seeds wet, because that would suck. All right. See, I'm so clumsy, and that's the thing with Instagram Live, is you guys get to see it all. All right. Let's see what everyone's saying. Good. I'm all good. I hope so. I just had an edible, so I will be better soon. All right, guys. So yes, this is what I do on my weekends. I spend all my time in here, just hanging out. For those of you that just got here, I'll show you again what my goal is today. So here, 4 weeks ago, 4 weeks, okay, note weeks, I started a zinnia seed. It germinated in 2 days. I put it directly in the buckets, and here we are. It's already blooming. The bud just emerged this morning. This is my first aeroponic zinnia plant, and the roots look sick. Look at that. White, clean, and awesome. And then that's my other one over there. I did it the same day, but it is for some reason at a different growth stage. It has not started blooming. Not me over here every single day, just like spreading the leaves open to look for buds. Hey, Primo's Garden. It is growing. I'm just showing everybody my blooming zinnia plant. The first bud emerged today. So I'm just doing my flower seed starts, my flower seedling starts in the buckets versus in soil cell trays. And these are the seedlings I transferred yesterday. So yeah, I've just been starting my seeds in my aeroponics system versus doing them in a cell tray with soil. I want to try to expedite the process, so I've just been getting everything in the system as soon as possible, as soon as it sprouts, and that's it. So that's flowers. I'm going to refill this water so I can water the other seedlings, and I'll show you guys those. I started a bunch of new seeds yesterday. I did that on Instagram Live. Alright, so I know this looks dirty. I've cleaned it so many times. I think it's just stained. There is no like algae or anything in it. There was, but I did clean boiling water and hydrogen peroxide. So whatever, I think it'll be fine. So yeah, usually I add a little bit of Florinova Grow in there. Since I'm just starting the seeds, I'm gonna cool off for a bit. Have you talked with the garden team? They're on YouTube. I talk a lot with them and they have some cool methods. Oh no, I have not. I'll check them out. Definitely gonna try buckets on my next. Oh my gosh, it's so much faster. You don't even know. The rate at which aeroponics stuff grows is just wild. All right, so here is my seedling station. So I'm just gonna check everything, make sure it's saturated. And I mean, normally you probably shouldn't do this with the lights on, but I'm just doing it to show you guys what I do. As soon as they start to sprout, I open a tray to allow for oxygen. These lights from VivoSun, they're so good. They're I just zip them to this little shelving thing, and that's it. Bunch of seeds starting. There's probably over like 100 different things growing, which is super exciting. Buckets are buckets of fun. Yes, they are. Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, I'll show you guys the rest of my buckets right now for those of you that just got here. So I did break a tomato plant today, so that is, there is a plant with nothing on it, and RIP. Look at the water though. The water content, even just in the stem, it's been like ripping. Yeah, VivoSun's killing the game right now. I have these fans, and this humidifier is off right now, but it's awesome. I actually use it for lemon seedlings. So yeah, I've got a cucumber plant in the buckets. It's got a bit of discoloration on the leaf, so I don't know if my levels are off. I've been kind of transitioning. I'm going to be transitioning to the bloom soon. Right now, this is the stuff I use. Florinova Grow, and then I transition them to this, and then once they get to another, like a little bit later of a growth stage, I add some of this in. So this goes in first, and then depending on their growth stage, I add in either this or this. Sometimes I add a mixture of the two, depending on if they're transitioning from one growth stage to another. And then I add in some hydrogen peroxide. I just add in a little bit, a couple of hours before I add my nutrient solution, like a very, very, very small amount, Supposedly it's supposed to be really good for the roots. May want to add a macro blend, have one with potassium and phosphorus. I think both of these are, I mean, these are pretty balanced. Every time I've used them, your pH is perfect, the ppm is on point. So I don't know, but I'm definitely going to be testing out and trying different fertilizers. This is just, when I started off with this, and I've become so comfortable with it that, you know, I know my measurements, I know what I'm using. I've heard Hygrozyme is awesome. I do this in my system. I know that Hygrozyme has a really great product lineup as well. This is supposedly just to remove any like additional hard water or salts. And I know that fertilizers and the pebbles, sometimes you get some of that in there. So this is what I use in my system. GH is my old reliable for sure. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have heard of Symbis. That's what I'm going to be trying next. It's actually outdoor fertilizers, but if you put it maybe in like in a cheesecloth or a tea bag, they are water soluble. So I'm going to give those guys a try. I'm actually going to do some A and B testing. So one of my towers will be GH, General Hydroponics. I might do another one of my towers with like Hygrozyme or something, give them a try, or maybe Green Planet, I don't know. And then I'll try out the Symbis. I don't know about if you guys have heard about Marthol. I also want to try that. It's a phytoplankton fertilizer, but apparently those are questionable with aeroponics or hydroponics because you do get a lot of debris in your system. So I don't know if you guys have any suggestions, then let me know. Yeah, I'll be your guinea pig. I'll try it first and I'll report. All right, so this is what I've got growing on. I'll show you guys. Nice roots there, a lot of new growth. It's starting to flower. I mean, if you were on my live yesterday, you guys have already watched this. I'm just so frickin' obsessed with my garden. I will show it 10 times over again. So sorry, not sorry. Oh, broke a stem there. Fuck, man. Oh, excuse my language. All right. So there we go. These are my tomato plants. I've been trying to get them onto the trellis using some clips. Just train them on. But they're all starting to flower, which is so freaking awesome. I pinched off buds several times, and now finally I'm just gonna let them grow. Yeah, they are huge. This is where the one was that I broke, so I added in one of the smaller ones. I'm gonna prune this branch off here, but I let the suckers grow because I want my tomato plants to be bushier rather than taller. I just raised the lights today. I will be raising them more, but I don't want tomatoes on the ceiling. My pepper plants were off to a rough start. Everything was in hydroclay. I would have put the tomatoes in foam collars, but I don't have any 4-inch foam collars. So I went for the clay pebbles, which they're still great. I love the clay pebbles, but they do leave debris in your system. So I had the peppers in the clay pebbles, but the roots weren't growing. So I transferred them to the foam collars, and it has significantly changed the game for me. Now my pepper plants are doing much better. This is my first time doing them in a foam collar. So these are bell pepper plants. Some nice little roots happening there. And a friend of mine gave me these pool noodles, maybe 4-inch. Actually, yeah, that is a great idea. And then just slice them. Wow. I don't know why I didn't think of that. You know, I also have foam collars from a cloning kit, but they're too small. So yeah, a friend of mine created these net pots. They're like a cone style net pot. So he gave me a bunch, trying them out in my system. And this plant was struggling, so I had to force the root through. And now you see some new growth. But it's like a process. You got to check this stuff every day, man. Make sure there's no problems. This one is doing much better. The root just naturally. So I don't know. There's a bunch of different testing I'm doing. I mean, these are different varieties. These are all bell peppers. I screwed up and didn't label properly. So I have, I think this is ancho poblano. I think that's a cayenne. I think that's a jalapeno. I think that's a Chinese 5-color. And I don't know what either of these are, but we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. So yeah, they do make good products, so I'm looking forward to trying their stuff. But oh my gosh, I love the pool noodle idea. That's so awesome. Yeah, and then that's it. There's my cucumber plant. It's already starting to flower. So that's it. Nothing else going on. I've started all the seeds I could start. I have 2 trays outside the tent under a root farm light, but there's no more room under that light. So then I used up the rest of my space there, and that's it. I don't have any more room to start more seeds. I've done everything I can. So now I'm just going to probably harvest some lettuce later, have a nice salad for dinner. Maybe I'll hop on a live and do a taste test, how, you know, the Costco romaine lettuce tastes versus mine. I'm sure it'll be a big difference. Thank you, thank you. Honestly, this might sound arrogant, watching me grow too. I just started learning, and now it's crazy how much I've learned, and it's crazy how much things are growing. I'm very excited about it. I'm really excited to share it with you guys. And if they want to see me grow, I always say this, if there's something you want to see me grow, drop it in the comments. I will procure the seeds and I will grow it, whether it's something you want to see in the tower, in the buckets, whatever it may be. Let me know, and the seeds, and let's do it. Let's experiment. Let's have fun with my tent. I just want to be able to experiment and try anything and everything. So I was telling people that were watching that I'm going to try growing celery in the buckets. I don't know if you guys have ever tried aeroponics celery in a bucket system. So that'll be fun to see if that works out. And like potatoes or beets or carrots. I don't know if I'll have to modify my design, but we'll see. I don't know. We'll see how things work out. But thank you guys for tuning in and watching. I am probably gonna go enjoy the weather outside. I have a couple of skids that I was gonna return, but I might take it and try to build myself a raised garden bed for my flowers for the summer. So it's a nice day outside where I'm at, and I'm gonna try to do that. So I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest weekend, and until next time. And don't forget to smash the like button. You've got like 5 seconds before I stop the video.